Once upon a time, in the heart of a lush green forest, there lived a little squirrel named Sammy. Now, Sammy was no ordinary squirrel. He was known throughout the woodland for his big dreams and even bigger imagination. Every day, Sammy would sit on a branch and gaze at the towering oak tree at the edge of the forest, dreaming of what it would be like to live at the very top of its branches. One sunny afternoon, Sammy decided he'd had enough of dreaming. It was time to start climbing. So he set off towards the oak tree, determined to make his dream a reality. As he scurried up the trunk, he met a wise old owl named Oliver who was perched on a nearby branch. "Where are you off to in such a hurry, Sammy?" asked Oliver, his eyes twinkling with curiosity. Sammy, without taking his eyes off the tree, replied, "I'm going to the top of this oak. I want to see what it looks like." Oliver hooted softly. "That's quite a lofty goal you have there, Sammy. Are you sure you can do it?" Sammy puffed out his cheeks and said, "Of course I can. I've always wanted to do this, and I'm not afraid of heights." And with that, he continued his climb. As Sammy climbed higher and higher, the forest grew quieter and quieter. Soon, he was the only sound that could be heard. But just when he thought he'd reached the top, he saw another branch just beyond his reach. He took a deep breath and began to climb again. Meanwhile, down below, Oliver watched Sammy disappear from view. A worried expression spread across his face. Seeing how determined Sammy was, he knew he had to help him. So he took off and flew to the top of the oak tree where Sammy had disappeared to. A little while later, Sammy finally reached the top of the tree. But instead of the breathtaking view he had imagined, he found himself in a small, dark space between the branches. "This isn't what I expected," he said, his voice echoing in the small space. Just then, Oliver arrived. "Sammy, I've been looking for you," he said, his voice soft with concern. "Are you all right?" Sammy looked up at the owl and said, "I thought I could do it, but I was wrong. It's too scary up here. I want to go home." Oliver nodded understandingly. "It's okay, Sammy. It's perfectly all right to be scared. Sometimes our dreams can seem too big for us, and it's important to know when to take a step back." Sammy climbed down the tree, feeling a little ashamed. He had been so sure of himself, but now he realized he needed help. As they made their way back down the tree, Sammy and Oliver met a family of deer. The mother deer, whose name was Fawn, had a gentle, caring nature, while her two fawns were known for their playful energy. "Hello, Sammy," said Fawn warmly. "What brings you down from the top of Mr. Oak's tree?" Sammy explained about his dream and how scared he had become when he realized he couldn't do it alone. "Oh, Sammy," said Fawn, her eyes full of understanding, "it's good to have big dreams, but sometimes we need our friends to help us reach them. Would you like some help getting down, Sammy?" Sammy hesitated. Asking for help was hard, but he knew he needed it. "Yes, please," he whispered. Fawn and her fawns gently guided Sammy down the rest of the tree. And as they walked back to Sammy's home, they talked about how important it was to ask for help when you needed it. Sammy realized that with his friends by his side, he could do anything. When Sammy got home, he told his family about his adventure and how he had almost made it to the top of the oak tree. His mother, who was known for her unwavering support, simply smiled and said, "I knew you could do it, Sammy." Then she turned to the others and said, "Why don't we all go to the top of the oak together? We can help each other and Sammy can show us the way." Sammy's eyes lit up with excitement. That was exactly what he had needed to hear. With his family's support, he knew he could make his dream come true. The next day, Sammy and his family, along with Oliver and the deer family, set off towards the oak tree. As they walked, Sammy shared his dream with them, explaining how he wanted to get to the very top. Everyone listened patiently, and when Sammy finished, they all cheered to encourage him. As they approached the tree, Sammy took a deep breath and began to climb. This time, he wasn't alone. The others were there to help him, and he could feel their support pushing him forward. Fawn and her fawns used their agility to leap from branch to branch, guiding Sammy to the next one. Oliver, with his sharp talons and keen eyesight, helped Sammy navigate the thickest parts of the tree. Sammy's mother stayed close by, offering words of encouragement and helping Sammy whenever he needed it. Together, they faced each challenge, and Sammy's determination grew stronger with each passing moment. Finally, after what felt like hours, Sammy reached the top of the tree. He stood proudly and looked out over the forest. The view was even more beautiful than he had imagined. Suddenly, a loud voice boomed through the trees. "Who's up there?" Startled, Sammy and the others peeked over the edge and saw a grumpy old elephant standing below them. "What are you doing on my tree?" he demanded. Sammy took a deep breath and said, "Mr. Elephant, we didn't mean to disturb you. We just wanted to see the view from the top of your tree." The elephant snorted. "Well, there's no view up here. It's just a bunch of noisy birds and creepy crawlies. Why don't you come down and see the real view?" He motioned with his trunk for them to follow. Curious, Sammy and the others climbed down and followed the elephant to the edge of the forest. There, they found a clearing with a small hill. "Go on, climb up there," said the elephant. "The view from there is the best in the whole forest." Together, they helped each other climb the hill. And when they reached the top, they gasped in amazement. The view was indeed breathtaking. They could see for miles and miles, and the forest looked like a patchwork quilt from up there. "Wow," breathed Sammy, feeling a sense of wonder. The elephant smiled, his tusks gleaming in the sun. "See, I told you it was better than the view from my tree. You can see everything from up here, all the rivers and streams and hills and valleys. It's a great way to see the world." Sammy turned to the elephant and said, "Thank you for showing us this, Mr. Elephant. It's an amazing view." The elephant nodded, his eyes twinkling. "You're welcome, Sammy. I'm glad you liked it. Now, why don't you all come back with me to my tree? We can have a picnic lunch and enjoy the view together." And so they all returned to the elephant's tree, where they spent the rest of the day picnicking, playing games, and enjoying the company of their new friend. Sammy sat on a low-hanging branch, munching on an acorn and watching the others play. He was happy. He had faced his fears, made new friends, and seen the most beautiful view in the forest. As the sun began to set, it was time for them to go home. Sammy and his family, along with Oliver and the deer family, thanked the elephant for his hospitality and promised to visit again soon. As they walked back to Sammy's home, they couldn't stop talking about their amazing day. Sammy had learned that with a little help and a lot of courage, he could achieve his dreams. He also learned that sometimes dreams change, and that's okay, too. That night, as Sammy snuggled into his bed of leaves, he thought about everything he had learned that day. He closed his eyes, knowing that tomorrow would bring new adventures and new opportunities to grow, hand in his heart. He carried the memory of the day he climbed to the top of the oak tree and made a lifelong friend.